Thank you for joining the Free Time Mastermind podcast. I'm your host, Robert Gaines. And what we're going to talk about today is getting podcast guests, particularly ones that are the best fit for your interview style podcast. We're not going to get into genre. In other words, if you're running a podcast about car mechanics, obviously you need to determine who's going to be the best fit as far as the audience is concerned. I'm going to get more into the technical. So it's both the best time to start an interview podcast and it's also the hardest. Technologically, it's gotten a lot easier. The editing software, there's even services out there that help you find guests. So some of the parts that were the least pleasant, like I really dislike the editing part. A lot of that has gotten a lot easier, creating short, potentially viral clips. So all that has gotten so much better. The quality of the lights, the quality of the cameras, the technology has gotten very good, but the competition has never been higher. And the algorithm and audiences reward you with their attention if everything is correct. As a matter of fact, the next episode you see, I probably won't be using a virtual background because there's so much data out there that people want to see a real environment. Now, that sounds strange to make that change, but I do want this channel to grow, and I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to give this channel the best chance for growth. Let's get into this about the guests. Number one, the guest should be attractive. I don't mind taking heat for what I say on this channel because I'm just telling you the truth. And I'm not telling you what I think. People prefer to watch attractive people. If you are a member of vidIQ, which is a service that helps you make your videos better for YouTube, they've got what's hot on YouTube. It's always attractive people, either physically attractive people or, of course, charismatically attractive. So you can have internal beauty and external beauty. Some people really have both, and a lot of those people are working full-time in Hollywood. So let's talk about that for a second. When Hollywood decided to do a biopic on the ugliest president that ever lived in the U.S., they got Daniel Day-Lewis, who's a very good-looking guy. They put some makeup on him to make him not so good-looking, but they got somebody very attractive. They didn't get some troll under a bridge who also was a really good actor. Why? Because people buying tickets want to look at good-looking people. This is just what people prefer. People that dazzle and sparkle on the inside are good too. I'm not saying don't have people on your show that aren't outwardly or inwardly attractive. This is just one of, I think, about 5 characteristics we'll go over. I can't see my whole list, so I can't cheat. But number 2, great backstory. What if somebody has a great backstory? That could be overcoming an immense physical challenge. It could be just a really great adventure where they did a lot of travel and they had really unusual experiences. It might be their childhood, basically their origin story might really grip you and grab the attention. People love that. People want to get invested into really intense stories, particularly if there's a transformation, because that's what Hollywood movies do. Usually the protagonist or the antagonist will have some character arc where they change throughout. Think of Game of Thrones. Look at Jon Snow at the beginning versus the end, how his character was. Several movies. Look at that transition. People love that. And that's part of the 3-act story structure that I've talked about in other videos. Great backstory. Number 3, great storytellers. And I know you're thinking, well, wait a minute, you just said great backstory. Yeah, but having a great story and being able to tell a great story, 2 completely different things. I know people that are great storytellers and they can tell you about just going out front to pick up the mail, and you'll be enthralled with what they're saying. They don't need to talk about anything dramatic. They can make anything sound good. They really understand good narrative and good storytelling. So those things are mutually exclusive. I know people with a great backstory, a great origin story. They just don't tell it that well. Now, if you've got both of those things, you've got magic. That's going to be cinematic. That's going to be video magic. So number 4 is reach. Reach is your number of viewers, your followers. You might have a guest that has a big Instagram or a big Facebook following, or they might be a fellow podcaster. There's this new collaboration tool on YouTube that there's plenty of other videos out by other companies that can tell you about it. And that can really help you both boost each other's audience. Whatever you produce, you're spending so much time doing the interview, doing the research, doing the editing. You want the video to do well, and there's no shame in that. So if you have people on with a very large reach, that will help you. Reach is a big one. And I'll get into the evaluation here in a little bit. I'm tempted to jump right into that, but I want to go to number 5. Number 5 is a bit unusual, and I would call it, because I struggled with how to describe this. There are some people that their story just needs to be told, meaning that message needs to get out. It might not be a compelling backstory. They might not even be the best messenger to deliver it, but that message has to get out. So now I'm talking more about injustice or some angle there where that message needs to be brought to an audience, because I've had a few people come to me. I've had a few guests that it was their first ever podcast that they came on. And I had a few people reach out to me that wanted to come on anonymously. And I'll tell you, current and future podcasters, if you're a YouTuber and a guest doesn't want to show their face, think twice about that, because people don't like those episodes. I went live the other day and somebody didn't show their face, and I'm really great that they came on, very grateful that they showed up and wanted to have a great discussion. But every time they spoke, it swapped to their screen and it was just their name. And it was live. So when I was talking, there was a lot of engagement. There was a lot of people watching. And as soon as it was that person talking for a long time, just showing a blank screen, people are on YouTube to see faces. Humans are interested in humans. That's why we call it human interest. You want to make sure people are going to go on camera. But we're talking about cases where somebody has a really, the story needs to be told. It needs to get out. And also be careful too. I did have somebody that came to me with that wanted to be a whistleblower about something in particular on the show. Now, if you've watched more than two episodes of mine, you already know I was a fraud investigator. So I can get to the bottom of something quick as far as the evidence and the validity, and ask them to pony up what they thought was the evidence. It didn't pass muster, and then I could have exposed myself to some legal hassles, giving a platform to somebody that didn't have all their stuff together. So what a person thinks is a whistleblower and what they think is inside information may not fit that definition. So be careful with that. And if you need help, if you have somebody that comes to you that wants to have an audience, then if you want to reach out to me, we'll evaluate the evidence together. And I'll just tell you by which the criteria that we used in fraud investigation as to what has legs and what doesn't. A lot of people that won't show their face, that's a red flag to me, because in general, what a lot of people are doing is they're axe grinding. So when you get down to peel the story away, sometimes people, you'll find out they were fired or they feel like they were wronged somehow. And then they just want to tear down another organization or a person using your platform, exposing you to the legal hassle. So again, if they don't show up on camera, it's negative consequences to them, and then it all falls on you. Be careful about that. But some stories do need to be heard, and some stories do need to get into the world, and you can shine a light on that. That's a great part about a podcaster. You can do it to do some really amazing things. Now, I wanted to give you one episode that I felt like checked all of those boxes, and I hope she doesn't get embarrassed by me bringing her up. But Mick Lafferty came on the show, beautiful on the inside and out, great backstory. She's a great storyteller. When she turned her camera on and within a few words, I thought I just knew it was going to be a great episode, because she just exudes this warmth and she was engaging and it was perfect. I had to cut that episode way back because I think we went for, I don't know, almost 90 minutes, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. Amazing lady, amazing story, and the story needed to be heard. And thank you to you in the audience. The watchers out there also responded to it very positively. I think it's second or third most popular episode out there. And it's a cautionary tale for artists too. So that's part of that whole story needs to be told, because it involves the legal system a little bit, which I'm personally fascinated in. So if you need help on any of that, reach out to me. I was just on the phone earlier with a friend of mine who's an artist who's about to start a new project, and they're somewhat unsure of themselves on this project. I'm like, you got to do it. You got to get your art out there into the world. And same thing with the podcasting. If you're on the fence, you've got to do it. I've made some amazing people, and some of those relationships have continued after they sat with me, which I think that's the real magic. Those are the things that are incredible. And we've had people tell some great stories, and I'm very privileged to be a part of that. Now let's look at how do you evaluate each. So first, external appearance. In this age of social media, you can see pretty quickly their profile photo and their social media to tell whether they're outwardly attractive, if that's a deciding factor for you. You've got to realize that some people feel very comfortable using a profile photo from 10 years ago. Some of my photos, even myself, are not 10 years ago, but probably 10 pounds ago. I like to tell on myself, as you can tell, but I'm trying to keep myself honest. So attractive on the inside, that's a little tougher. If they've done past interviews, that's a great place to look. If they're YouTubers, if they've got other social media, I like to research my guests. I think it makes the interviews obviously so much better because I'm in the business space. So it makes a lot of sense to have their story. I'm not one of those ones that has them come on camera and say, "Tell us about your background." I usually know the background and I'll say a lot of it myself and then they riff off of that and then we go through the questions. Number two, which was great backstory. You could do a pre-interview with them. If they don't have a large social media presence, which that could be tough sometimes. If there's not much out there on this person, it's really going to be hard to evaluate whether they're going to be a good guest or not. And you don't have to say yes to everybody. I just want to break and go down a rabbit hole just for a second about this. It's going to be a lot better on you. Depends on your situation. But I would say it's a lot better for you to stack your interviews close together. So shoot, 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 and then edit, edit, edit. You're going to be much more effective if you're sticking to one activity instead of changing between tasks, unless you've got a partner or a friend or a contractor that's going to handle some other aspect of it. In general, stack your interviews. And that way, if you got a bad one, that's okay. You're going to have a few good ones behind it. One bad interview stretched out, it can be a lot more painful. So anyway, you can evaluate people through a pre-interview, 15 minutes face to face. I've had people come to the pre-interview looking like $1 million inside their very nice home using all of their very nice equipment. And then it came time for the interview and they're shooting at a noisy train station off of their iPhone. And it looks like they've been crashing on their friend's couch for the last 2 days. You don't have any control over that. Just do your best. And some of those episodes, still the content was great because they had those other aspects. Not every episode is going to be golden. And the more episodes you shoot, the less you get panicked about one. I try to make every one of them the best I can, but you've got to roll with the punches. And if you're doing enough of them, the quality will continue to go up. So number three, how can you tell if they're a great storyteller? Only if you see a previous video of them, a previous interview, or you do a pre-interview. And that pre-interview can happen a week before or prior to them actually booking the full time to sit down and talk to you. So that's up to you. I use Calendly and I can do bookings. I'm not doing pre-interviews anymore. I'm finding it easier to get guests if I don't do that part, but I do vet people and I research them more ahead of time. And I tend to not interview people that don't have any internet presence at all, where I can't do some evaluation unless the story needs to get out. So I do take my own advice on this. Number four, reach. That's easy. You look them up online, how many Instagram followers, how many Facebook, how many. It's more helpful if you're trying to grow yourself on the platform that they're dominant on. So right now, my main thing is growing my LinkedIn and growing YouTube. I really don't care what happens to Facebook. I can only boost so many platforms at a time. So if somebody's really big on LinkedIn, that's going to help me. That's going to help them. If somebody's really big on YouTube, that's also great. But I'm willing to have somebody on that's has no friends on Facebook as long as some of these other, and they don't have to have all five. If they've got two of the five, you're good. If somebody's got three of the five, and then if you can find McLafferty, if you want somebody that has it all, she has it all. She's got great equipment. She's got great lights. Just, it's everything. She's an amazing lady. Number five. Attention viewers, we interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you an important announcement. You're about to unlock this second episode in a multi-part series on content creation. To unlock the giveaways, subscribe, click the notifications, and check the specific posts related to this second episode. No purchase is necessary. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program. Number five, what about the story needing to be heard? You can find that in their bio. You might be able to find it on Facebook, is a little bit more intimate. But if they have a LinkedIn, sometimes the information is there. You can do the pre-interview. Just suss out if the story is there. I've had a few people that I did the pre-interview or I talked to, and they weren't a good fit. So I tried to find the most delicate and respectful way to disinvite them from the show. I haven't had to do that very often because I know ahead of time whether they are podcast material or not. So reach out. I mean, of course, I'm obligated to say subscribe, comment, share it if you think this is interesting. even if you don't have a YouTube account and you can't click the subscribe button, you can still share the episode. You can still post it on your social media. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping in on the Free Time Mastermind podcast. I'm your host. I hope you have a great day.